Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me here on Ask One Radio, even our Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. My name is Zsuzsanna Hörcsög. I'm a psychic and a medium, an intuitive teacher, a coach, a healer, and a therapist, and a human just like you are. And this is our show, Zsuzsanna Medium, episode 16. And I'm just truly grateful to be back since I was not here last week. So I do apologize for that. And I tell you just very, very briefly what happened. You know, 2 weeks ago when I was talking to you about listening to the silence and feeling in the space, I did not listen to my own conversation because I kept on talking. You know, when you really love talking, this is what you love talking. This is what you love doing. You keep talking. And then Spirit says, no, you need to listen. But I kept talking. And then Spirit again said, you need to listen. And I still kept on talking. Actually, I went to a place last weekend, a well-being show, a well-being market, where I was supposed to do reading for people, networking and talking to people. So just a beautiful environment because you keep talking. And of course, when Spirit says now you need to listen, this is what happened, because right in the middle of a conversation, of a reading, I lost my voice. So I had to apologize. I had to stop talking and spend the rest of the couple of days afterwards basically in silence and just feeling into the conversation that, yes, sometimes you just have to listen. And then what I'm noticing is that from time to time, you know, when we work with energies, what Spirit says, a consciousness, we are being shown that actually we need to listen, we need to stop, we need to wait, because our frequencies, our energies are being tuned, changing. And that is a time when we just have to step back and then just wait until our frequencies are tuned in one way or another. And then things go moving forward, you know, start moving forward. And it was quite interesting because at the weekend I noticed that, yes, I know how I work. I tune in with energies. I start doing my reading this way or that way. It always goes one way. And I'm always, okay, yes, this is how things are moving forward. But if you can imagine that not even one single thing what I wanted to say came out how I wanted to say it. And then I realized, you know, I can't even do a psychic reading. And that was actually the point when I got a little bell in my mind ringing that, you know, actually I need to listen. I need to be quiet because this is not how I work. So it shows that the whole energy is just showing me something. So here we go. But anyway, we are back. So I feel it's much more important to, you know, continue with the conversation, what I promised you, than talking about what happened to me last week and my voice. So it's really good to be back. But then you see, I need to acknowledge you, you know, because you are listening, you are tuning in. And when I'm checking the previous shows, Zsuzsanna Medium shows, I'm noticing actually you lovely, lovely audience out there. You are engaging with the conversation. And I'm truly blessed and grateful that you have actually listened to the Honor from Conversations, you know, because I had 2 episodes. Now, episode 1 was what we recorded at the end of March. Episode 2 or part 2 was what we recorded at the beginning of April. And now I want to bring you episode, I would rather call it part 3 of the conversation, because that is one unit, what I feel. And it's quite interesting. Because about 10 days ago, Anna Frank is always on my left side when she comes forward, and she was bringing this energy about 10 days ago that, you know, I'm here, I'm ready, when are we going to talk? And I had to tell her that, you know, I'm going to this show, maybe after that. And then the following day on Friday, she was again, you know, so when are we going to talk? That is my energy. I'm ready. I've got so much to tell you. And then I had to say again, you know, I'm working this through, and then we will talk. So I feel that there will be more conversation coming forward. But since what I'm going to present to you right now, I received it on the 5th of May, 2021. It still belongs to the previous conversation, and I feel it is important that I'm sharing those bits here as well. Now, I need to tell you, if you listen to any of the conversations and then if you missed one of them, please feel free to go and listen, because it's all one package, you know. So there's a reason why she's giving us certain things and how the certain themes are developing themselves. And then you see, as I said to you, one day, some time ago, ages ago, last century, sometime last century. Yes, it was last century. I need to say that I was teaching history, so that interest is there. But otherwise, as I said to you, I'm not reading on anything, even though since then I've got some further books, but not with the intention of me wanting to read or check upon anything. So what I'm going to share today, continue sharing, if anybody feels like, yes, I want to check, I want to see whether historically things are correct, please feel to do that. Please feel free to do that. Because I'm not going to do that. So I'm leaving it, everybody, leaving it to your own listening. Okay, so here we go. I noticed, before I noticed three things. One of them is how she's talking. There are three main themes in her conversations. One of them is when she's talking about personal details, sharing about personal details, relationship with her father, and then some other family members in today's conversation. So that is the family conversation. Okay. The second level is what I'm noticing in this discussion, this presentation, is that she's sharing. She has this intention that she wants to teach us, and then since she passed from that realm, what she has learned, what she has gathered, she wants us to understand. So from that realm, she's teaching us. So that is the second level. And then a third level, which I really feel is today's conversation, is the history. Okay, so it is what happened in the 1940s, and then the energy has actually changed. The part one, part two, I really felt that, she's chatty. She wants to say so many things. She has covered so many different topics, different conversations. But then this conversation, the latest, where her energy is quite different, because what I was feeling, that's why I'm saying the sensation is that. And then she says, so that is how I have received this information. But then the today's conversation, that historical part of conversation, is that it's all spiritual again. So that's why I'm sharing, because there is teaching there. But what she did was, or how she gathered her energy, was that, or how I felt her energy, was that she was gathering the strength, the energy, building it up, and then giving me one little passage in a form of a paragraph, and then pause. And then again, gathering the strength, and then giving the next piece of information, the next passage, and again, pause. So when I was, this has been recorded. I record because while I'm receiving the information, I'm recording it. So it is voice recorded. And after that, I sat down and I transcribed the whole thing. So in my transcript in front of me, sometimes I use the word pause, and sometimes I use the word long pause, meaning that actually there were seconds passing. And then it really gave me the sensation of it's profound, it's history. And it really made me think, that us mediums, we feel the energies, we feel the frequencies. We are blessed with this ability to feel your energy, blessed to have the frequency of your loved ones or higher consciousness, And then the sensation is, and we are using our own senses, that I am sensing, I'm feeling. And then most of the time, when we give the reading to you, it's upliftment, it's joy, it's love, it's healing, that is what the energy is coming forward. But when it comes to historical conversation, actually, I have experienced just the opposite, talking about the 1940s, what was happening, what the family went through, what she experienced. And then I really had to just watch how I was pacing myself, because yes, we can read about things in history books, and I understand, yes, I have read something, that is the fact, that is what happened. But when there is somebody, a spirit communicator, sharing her own experience of what she or the family went through the eyes of her own consciousness, then I feel the frequency, and then that was quite different from anything what I have ever experienced. Now maybe one day I will tell you about another historical slavery, that was related to slavery when I was holding an object, and then the frequency was quite similar. So you know what? I'm just going to share what I was given here, okay? Because there is teaching behind that, And then I know that I probably read the whole script about twice, because what I feel is that, yes, I'm reading it, and you just take your time to listen to this conversation. If you at any time you feel that you feel a little bit uncomfortable, feel free to switch off and come back and listen to another passage. But then this is what she wants us to know. And remember the previous conversation. She said she wants to teach us. That is her intention. And one way or another, we need to hear what she's saying. So I was quite surprised, because when I started the conversation on Monday, the 5th of April, she immediately went to directly into the conversation. So I'm just continuing in a way how I presented the other conversations before, So here we go. So the key points. She's saying that since her passing, she has met all the people who hurt her and caused her misery. She has taken the time to visit every single one of them. She has made progress to understand their reasons of their actions, because at the beginning she did not understand what was happening or why things were happening. She is still asking questions. Now, please notice I'm giving the sensation was that it is present tense, and then she's saying. I'm using the word she's saying because this is how I was listening. This is how I was receiving the information. So that's why I'm using present tense, because this is how she was showing me. So she's still asking questions and searching for answers, because not everything what she wants to reveal has been revealed, but saying that she's strong enough and she's on the right path to find the answers. As soon as she understands more, she will let us know. So just we can take a note that she's here to teach us something. Now, she's saying that those people who caused her misery and death are still misholding information, but she says that she's patient. She's able to sit quietly outside of the cells where those people are being held and kept while they are taking their own learning, taking the time to learn. So remember, this is history going back to the 1940s. She's giving us information about it, and they are still at the place of learning. And she's expressing that she's patient because she still has questions. And as soon as she gets the answer, she's going to be sharing it with us. Now, she's saying that after her passing, she witnessed her father's journey. It's always lovely when she starts talking about her father and the relationship with her father. And then she said that she was very happy and very pleased how her father moved on with his life and created a new life, bringing forward clarity. He managed to clear his mind and his heart as much as he could in that belief that he was able to make the world a better place. She says that he did not have an easy life after that, because he was haunted by the events of what had happened before. But she says that she was around to help him to ease the pain of what he was experiencing. She's saying that at the time when her father passed, she was there immediately in the next moment. She was the first one to welcome her own father and give her a hug when her father passed. And then she took a great care to show her father around on the journey in the spirit realm. Now, at this point, she was making me aware of her father's sister and sister energies, and then all the sisters whom they used to visit. So you see, this is a historical point. I do not know anything about the family. Feel free to check it out if there was anybody who was a sister or sister energy. And then she says that the place where they lived, she occasionally visited, but not any longer from the spirit realm. She's not visiting that space because the energy has changed quite a lot, and it has been changing ever since. The frequency around that space has changed. She's saying that it is now not our place. She's letting it go, but she's still around to visit those places. So we see this energy is coming and going. And then she's talking about the community who has been there, and then the changes that community has gone through. And then she's saying that right now people are at a loss. But then she's there to help and she's there to teach them, And then she's saying that even the language of what people speak in those areas has changed, And then again, from time to time, she talks about the conversation, she talks about the languages, and then she's saying that she really wants to learn those languages so that she can tune into the frequencies of those people who live there, because she wants to be direct with them. Then she's saying again that she had a very close relationship, a very close link with her father. She's saying that there were times when she really felt that she really wanted to talk to her father while she was here on this earth plane, but then it was not a possibility because the father could not really talk to her openly and really in an honest manner. And then it's lovely, when they have this conversation, when she talks about her father, then the father energy comes forward as well, and they have a little dialogue, and then this is actually not the first time this is happening here. So she says that the father is making me aware. So that was the recording. The father is making me aware that he wishes that he could have had, or he could have used the time better when they were together, to say what he wanted to say. So it's always beautiful how they reflect from that spiritual realm, Now she's saying that she knew that those frequencies are not lost. What the father wanted to express, that could not express, because she was making me aware that after her father passed, that those frequencies were with her father. So when they met in the spiritual realm, she could feel, she could receive those frequencies of love and attention from her own father. Now, it's quite interesting because then she moves on to talking about a ruby ring, how from spiritual realms we have concrete things. So if anybody has read the diary, you might have learned, I don't know if there is any mention about that, but then she's talking about a ring, a ruby ring, and she says there is a ring in the family. And it has the sense that the father gave that ruby ring to the mother, to her own mother. It is not a circle, and she was actually very carefully describing the shape. And she says it's like an eye. It has a slanted shape. And then she says the mother had the ring until the very last moment because she did not want to take the ring off. But then the ring was taken off her fingers. But that was in the very last moment, because that ring was very important for her mother. And then again, remember, we are talking about the 1940s, and then, there are quite deep conversations I felt, they were coming, because she's saying that they were given something in the form of a milk, and then you see, as you listen to this conversation, it feels like that she's dipping into this little topic and that little topic, talking about physical reality and talking about what happened when the family was taken away. And I feel that when she started talking about the milk, I feel that she was already, when the family was taken away, that the change taken place. And she said that they were given something in the form of milk. They were given milk when they were taken away. And she's saying that the milk smelled or felt foul, F-O-U-L. And it was quite interesting for me because that is not the first word which would come to me when I'm describing milk, which is a little bit funny or has gone off. I would use, as a person, Zsuzsanna, I would use a different word for that. So when I have something like this from the spiritual realm, it means that they are using their own frequency. So I'm just their own conversation, their own vocabulary. So we are just taking it. And then she says that they drank it because they were thirsty, because they felt that it was going to help them to feel better. She's saying that it was a gradual decline in the health of those people drinking that milk because something was put in the milk. She knew at the very beginning, from the very beginning, that it was not, something was wrong with the milk. And then she says that she would drink that milk, but then most of the time there would be somebody else who would be quicker to take her portion and drink that. And then in the very moment when she witnessed that, she said that she immediately knew that something was a little bit different from her, the experience, what she would know, how you drink a milk, or what kind of milk you drink. And then she was saying that immediately she would say a prayer, and she would send a prayer for the soul of the person who would take the milk, what she thought was a little bit strange. And then she's saying, you see, it's still historical conversation. She's saying that she witnessed the passing of the souls because a lot of souls passed, we are in the 1940s. A lot of people passed during the night, And then she's saying that she heard at the very early morning, she heard the sounds, She said that by the time the sun was up, those people she knew the day before, they were already gone, And she says that especially about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, I know there are ways we can check, what was happening in that environment, in that camp. So it's like historical conversation. But then she's bringing conversation, and she's bringing, every time when I was working with this material, I had to take some moments off from my desk. Like 5 or 10 minutes typing, and I had to leave it there because how she was passing this information, there was weight. I was feeling that weight, in the energy, what she was showing me. Now she was saying that they needed to get up very early in the morning. Sometimes at about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, they had to be ready. And then she said that every single day was a challenge. And then she said, she was saying that she tried to keep herself strong and as strong as possible, and then helping each other. She says it was very important to remind the other people to help each other, she was saying. And then she says that I have witnessed such horror. I could have never imagined that I could witness that horror, And then she was talking that there was a phone people could use, and then they were only the privileged who could use that phone. And then there were certain tables, special tables, that the ones who were the privileged ones, they could use those tables. They could sit around those tables, And then she's talking about that she does not want to visit the place where everything was taken place, It's like, from the spiritual realm, how they can say that, our grandfathers and mothers and our grandmothers, we can say, yes, I feel that she's visiting your home, there's a chair your grandmother enjoys sitting, So they reflect on the reality, what they left behind. And then from time to time in this conversation, she was saying that she prefers not to visit the place because it has changed. The frequency is different. And then, let me just see if I find, when she talks about the place, she says that for a very long time, she was not being able to visit the place. She was not being able. Yes, she says that even when she visited the place, the souls, the spirits of those souls, are still around. We're still around in that area where that actual, the camp where she was taken to. So she's showing us that there are souls around, those souls who experience the end of their lives in that environment. And then she says that when I would visit, when I visited, I would hear the souls. There are souls who are lower frequencies in spirit, and they go back and visit because something was not given, something was lost from their lives, and they're still searching, and they still want to get it back. They want to get back what they lost. They are searching. That's why they are not leaving that frequency. But then she says that she is just witnessing those souls visiting the place, but then she cannot help them because those souls can't hear. They are not hearing her, and they are not hearing any other guidance because they feel they need to go back because they want to find something which is being lost. And then she was talking about that there is a child who is still looking for her toy, which was taken away, So from time to time, she was giving me little pointers like this. And it's quite interesting because sometimes she's using, I feel that the language she's speaking, or she was using maybe in that structure, in that language, she would express herself in one way, but then the conversation is given to me in English. And then sometimes when I feel that, at one point she was giving me the word mental, and then saying that the people lost their mental health, their minds, and that she witnessed some horrendous incidents when people lost their minds because what they were experiencing, talking about a grandmother who was looking for a child, looking for children, talking about the people. I tell you what, and then you see, that's why, when I lost my voice last week, actually, I really reflected on this because with my personal mind, Zsuzsanna's mind, I was actually asking, yes, whether it is really relevant or important to share about this conversation, because it's history, and I would read it in history books. But then, because I have felt the frequency and the sensation at the very moment when she passed this information, I feel that that there is something much like heavier, in that sense. But then I decided to go along with this conversation, because she said at the beginning, and she's been saying that she wants to teach us, so we need to learn from one way or another. But let me see, because I'm aware of the time, and I want to give you something. When she was saying, I wanted to be alive, I wanted to stay alive, I wanted to help everybody to stay alive. But then this is not what was happening. And then she's saying that on the day when she passed, certain events were taking place, particularly at 10 o'clock in the morning. And she also said that the last person I hugged was a child, because I wanted to comfort that child. And then you see, from that point, she moves a little bit. Talks about the 1988, she's giving me different dates here, different pointers, and lots of very interesting conversations. For instance, when the mother asked her not to sing, don't sing, you can't sing. And then she was really hoping that she could, there would be a time or a platform when she can sing. But then, you know what, at the very end of this conversation, because that was 34 minutes, I asked for a message, and her message is that don't hang on to the pain in your heart, let it go, make every day count. And if you feel that there is pain in your heart coming from the past, let it go. And that's her message, okay? So don't carry on, don't take it with you, you put it down. And every morning when you wake up, even if you feel that you remember the pain from the night before, but then you need to know that this is another day, and then you don't carry on with that pain, and make every day count. So this is her message from April 2020, one of you. And thank you very much for joining in and listening. This is our show, Zsuzsanna Medium, episode 16. I'm going to be back next Tuesday, 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. GMT. And after this conversation, please make sure that you ground yourself, you look around, you use your sense, you take a few deep breathing and breath, and then just make sure that you ground yourself back to this reality. Next week onwards, I will have some amazing guests lining up, so stay tuned in. Thank you very much for being here. Sending you many, many, many blessings and lots of love, and I'm grateful. Thank you very much. See you next week. Thank you.